What's going on, Falcons fans? Logan here. Welcome back to Rise Up Rundown, and if you're new here, welcome. So the reason this video is happening is very similar to why I made a video on why the Falcons are better than the Saints, but me and my brother got in an argument on who's the better team, the Falcons or the Panthers. And look, I just want to make things clear. It's kind of sad that I even need to make a video on this, but the Falcons are the better team than the Panthers. Here's the rundown. So, if you've seen my Why the Falcons Are Better Than the Saints video, this video will basically be no different. We'll go over each position, who's got the better quarterback, the better wide receivers, stuff like that. Then we'll go over who has the better coaching staff, who got better over the offseason and draft, and we'll even go over who has the easier schedule, who's going to win more games. This is going to be fun to break down, and I will flat out admit this was a lot easier to make than why the Falcons are better than the Saints. But anyway, let's get into it, starting with the quarterback. Who's better, Cam Newton or Matt Ryan? This is really the only hard one to compare. I guess we'll go over Cam Newton first. Yeah, he has a league MVP. I believe he has the most rushing touchdowns as a quarterback ever. Congrats, you would think it's maybe Mike Vick. He's 176 all-time in rushing yards, 60th in career rushing touchdowns. So congratulations to Cam Newton. When it comes to rushing stats, he kills it. But passing the ball, it's not that it's bad, it's just not as impressive. Matt Ryan, on the other hand, maybe not so good when rushing the ball, but a lot of quarterbacks don't run it. Passing the ball, Matt Ryan is 12th all-time passing yards. Oh, and Matt Ryan also has a league MVP, and every season he seems to do better than Cam Newton anyway. Did you know Cam Newton has only thrown for 4,000 yards once? And that wasn't even his MVP season. Yes, I get that he just runs the ball a lot, but it's still something worth noting. Whereas, look at how many times Matt Ryan reaches 4,000 yards. He nearly reached 5,000 yards 2 times, and he also just gets more touchdowns than Cam. Oh yeah, and by the way, Matt Ryan is a lot more of a team player. The way he acts around his teammates is much better than Cam doing this.
No, I played nothing different. No.
And then after a 15-1 season, they go 6-10. And I also just want to mention, Matt Ryan has been 6-2 against Cam since 2015, including that magical 15-1 season. So, yeah. So who's better? I think Cam Newton is the more athletic quarterback, but I don't think that makes him better. Matt Ryan is a more accurate thrower, a better team player. He seems to always beat Cam anyway, and really has accomplished what a quarterback should through the air. Cam Newton can do that, but he's just busy running it, which I'm not necessarily saying is a bad thing, because look at Mike Vick. But a quarterback is supposed to throw to his teammates a lot, so I think that's a little more important than how well they can run it, and Matt Ryan's done a lot better than Cam. Running backs. Who's better, Christian McCaffrey or Devontae Freeman? Because honestly, Panthers don't really have any depth after McCaffrey. Or at least not any proven depth after McCaffrey. That's why I'm not showing Ito Smith or Quadre Allison. Well, it could be Devontae Freeman. Christian McCaffrey is really just a passing threat more than he is a rushing threat. Whereas Devontae Freeman is a scary short player that can run through you or run past you with his feet. So Freeman should be the better player, but he never freaking stays healthy. So because of that, Panthers have the better running back. I don't think Ito Smith or any other Falcons running back after him is better than Christian McCaffrey. Wide receivers. Who has the better wide receivers, including tight end? We don't even need to discuss this. Falcons have the better wide receivers. Panthers have Greg Olsen, but he's just getting old, and DJ Moore is promising, but still not proven. Falcons have, let's see, Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu, and Calvin Ridley. By the way, Panthers fans, Calvin Ridley did better than DJ Moore, so Falcons have the better wide receivers. O-line. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know the Panthers O-line that well, but all I know is that they're one of the better O-lines in the league. Falcons, however, I will admit, don't have a proven O-line yet. Yeah, there's Alex Mack and Jake Matthews, but you got 2 rookies coming in Chris Lindstrom and Caleb McGarry. So our O-line isn't really proven. I guess I'll give this to the Panthers. Offensive coordinator. Who has the better offensive coordinator, Panthers or Falcons? Panthers' Norv Turner is a fine coach. He's had huge success running the ball, and that's why they picked him up, because Cam Newton runs the ball. They want to get more out of him. But when it comes to passing the ball, he does fine, not terrible. Just haven't really seen enough from the other players not named Cam Newton to make me come away that impressed with this offense. In fact, I actually think the Panthers have the worst offense in the NFC South. Falcons' new offensive coordinator Dirk Cutter, look, he's worked with Matt Ryan before, and they usually land it in the top 10 on offense every year when working together. Why would things change now? And this dude was able to make Jameis Winston and the Bucks have a top 3 offense last year? I think this one's obvious. Falcons and Dirk Cutter is better than Panthers and North Turner. So now that we went over the offense, it's time to switch over to the defense. Who has the better D-line, Panthers or Falcons? Panthers have Dontari Poe, who honestly is overrated. Why do you think the Falcons got rid of him? They also have Kawan Short, and now Gerald McCoy. They also have Brian Burns from Florida State at edge, who obviously needs to prove himself. I think he will. This Panthers defensive front is... that's a little scary for opposing offenses. Falcons do have Grady Jarrett, but I will admit, the players outside of him do not compare to what the Panthers have. Panthers win this one. Linebackers. Who's better, Panthers or Falcons? Panthers have the one and only Luke Kuechly, who just wrecks havoc, but Thomas Davis is gone. So who do you have after that? Falcons have Deion Jones, maybe the third best linebacker in the league behind Kuechly and Wagner. And then you got a promising player in Foye Oluokun. I even have a video explaining why he could be a very good player this year and even the years ahead. So Falcons have the better linebackers, but it'd be kind of wrong of me to say they're better than Luke Kuechly. Fine, Panthers have the better linebackers because honestly, it's pretty hard to be better than Luke Kuechly. Secondary. This one's not a question. Man, losing Josh Norman just never really seemed like a good idea for this Panthers team, huh? One of the worst DBs in the league, and it's a huge reason on why I think the Falcons are better than the Panthers. Panthers do not have any DBs. Falcons? Desmond Trufant, Ricardo Allen, Keanu Neal, Isaiah Oliver, and DeMonte KZ, who was tied for most interceptions last year, by the way. Falcons easily take this one. Defensive coordinator. Who has the better defensive coordinator, Panthers or Falcons? Panthers have Eric Washington. He's a good coach. This Panthers team has always been good on defense, so gotta give props to Washington for doing what the Panthers do on defense. Falcons? Dan Quinn. The same guy that coached the 2013 through 14 Legion of Boom Seattle Seahawks team. I think he's pretty good. Gotta give this one to the Falcons. Panthers have the better players on defense, but not the better coach. And now, last but not least on this roster, who is better at head coach? Ron Rivera or Dan Quinn? This is a tough one because they both have had their team go to a Super Bowl, and I think they're both defensive-minded. They've had plenty of good seasons, but who's better? Well, even though Ron Rivera has had great seasons like his 12-4 2013 season, the magical 15-1 in 2015, and a solid 11-5 season in 2017, he's also had some bad ones. He didn't do great in his first 2 seasons in Carolina, went 6-10 after his Super Bowl run, and overall he just kind of relies on Cam to win his games. I'm not kidding. Take a look. 2015, Cam Newton is hyped up and happy. They go 15-1 and make a Super Bowl, which by the way, that one loss was to the Falcons. 2016, Cam Newton is frustrated, Ron Rivera can't coach his team, they go 6-10. 2017, Cam wants to go back to the playoffs, so they go 11-5 and reach playoffs. 2018, Cam is healthy and doing good, they go 6-10, and then all of a sudden he has a shoulder injury. Uh-oh, Ron Rivera can't coach again, they finish 7-9. And also, Ron Rivera has been 2-6 against the Falcons since 2015. And that's the same year Dan Quinn started his coaching career in Atlanta. Dan Quinn could lead his team to a Super Bowl in just his second year in Atlanta. They finished 10-6 and a playoff run after the Super Bowl loss, instead of going 6-10 after a 15-1 season. He's been 6-2 against Ron Rivera since he came to Atlanta. This one goes to the Falcons and Dan Quinn. So I think it's looking pretty clear so far the Falcons are the better team. But now we move into who had the better offseason and draft, and then who has the easier schedule. Panthers this offseason lost Thomas Davis, Julius Peppers, and Ryan Khalil, so they lost some key pieces, but I will say they were getting so old. Panthers did pick up Bruce Irvin, good for you I guess, but they picked up Gerald frickin' McCoy. And in the draft they picked up Brian Burns, Greg Little, Will Greer, Jordan Scarlett, Terry Godwin, and Elijah Holyfield. Okay, Panthers, you were pretty busy this offseason and you made some moves. Falcons offseason and draft, look, they never really do a whole lot. They just pick conservatively every year. They've picked up a couple of guards for the O-line. They picked up Tyler Davison and Adrian Claiborne. That shall help boost our D-line a little bit. We got rid of Matt Bryant, and I know he's just a kicker, but that hurts a little bit. Giorgio Tavecchio was a fine replacement as we saw a little from him last year, so I wouldn't worry about special teams if I were Atlanta. And then in the draft, we got 2 O-linemen in Chris Lindstrom and Caleb McGarry. That should help boost our O-line. Then we pick up Quadre Allison for more running back depth, some more DBs. So Falcons have made moves, but not any big, oh my gosh, look at what this team has done in the offseason moves. Just kind of conservative moves. Panthers, if they can live up to the offseason hype, they did do better in the offseason. And now for the schedule. Who has the easier schedule? Who could win more games? Let's take a look at the Panthers. It's not a hard schedule, but not an easy schedule. I mean, they're tied for the 16th hardest schedule. The Rams will be tough. Obviously, they got to play the Saints twice and the Falcons. It's just, I don't know, it's not really that bad of a schedule, but Falcons are tied for the 7th hardest schedule. I mean, the first half of the season is rough, and then it gets better. I feel like I don't really need to go over this schedule. I've made 2 videos predicting the Falcons' schedule, so if you want to know what I think of the Falcons' schedule, go ahead and watch those. So Panthers have the easier schedule, but with a roster that's not as talented as the Falcons, trust me, I'm not that worried. Falcons can beat a lot of teams and usually beat the Panthers every year anyway, so I don't care how easy it is for Carolina. So overall, it's just like the Falcons are better than the Saints video. Panthers have had a better offseason and draft, they have an easier schedule, and they have a better defensive roster, but Falcons have the better offense, the better coaches, and guys, they've been 6-2 against them since 2015. There's not that much to worry about. Falcons fans, I think this one is a lot more clear than the Saints video, but Falcons are the better team than the Panthers. I'm not saying Panthers just can't be a good team, I just think the Falcons are a better team. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. But other than that, whether you agree or not, please make sure to smash that like button, blow up the comment section, and definitely hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any weekly content. There's new episodes every Tuesday and Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern, and I will see you guys this coming Tuesday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern. Rise up.